Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here today. I hope everybody is doing well. Boy, how things are moving so rapidly. And I really, truly do believe when the Most High said he would speed time up towards the end, because I sure feel it. And I definitely believe it in light of all the things that have happened in just a few short months. So, we're going to talk about Donald Trump calling different countries and begging them to sell the U.S. eggs. After making enemies out of everyone, he got the nerve and audacity to go back to the same people, because I know we always hear about Mexico, Canada, and China and who he put those tariffs on, but that's actually just part of it. A lot of these European nations, he slapped them with tariffs as well. It just doesn't get as much shine in the news as Canada, Mexico, and China. But he certainly did it. And ladies and gentlemen, they are slamming the door in Donald Trump's face. There is a shortage in the US because many of these farmers killed off their entire flock hoping to control bird flu. And it's now showing that killing off a whole flock is doing absolutely nothing to keep it under control. It's not doing anything. In fact, it's spreading even more. And the reason why it's spreading is it's kind of useless to kill off your whole flock. And you got migrating birds that can fly anywhere that also carry the same bird flu. So as long as you got migrating birds flying around with it, you can't really control it. You can't control it at all. You know? And I know some people, oh, just shoot the migrating. Well, what you gonna do? You can't eyeball which bird got it and which bird don't. There are some birds that got bird flu and they show no symptoms of it. I guess it's not just human beings that are asymptomatic when it comes down to certain things. Even animals are too. So there's no way you can just look at a migrating bird and tell they got it or not. So the scientists right now are saying, all this massive killing of flocks it's not even slowing it down. So now Donald Trump is resorting to calling countries, and I'll talk about those countries. So he is calling Lithuania, and you know what? Some of these countries are not even returning his call, and others are just telling him no. Bird flu is at an epidemic level here in the US. It's something they absolutely don't talk about in their precious media, which is absolutely useless because, they all go on the same script, and you're going to get your best news online at non-news channels. You know, non-mainstream news channels got better news than mainstream news in America, and that's a fact. So in America, people are searching for eggs and decent egg prices on a regular basis, you know, and some of the European countries are not struggling as bad with this as the US. So it is now known that countries like Lithuania, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, and the Netherlands, they have an endless supply of eggs. They are not struggling with eggs and egg prices like the US is. So the Finns already declined to export their eggs to the US. The move led to ridicule on social media, with some making fun of the US President Donald Trump diplomatic strategy. Yeah, so you're talking and you're threatening people, you're slapping on all these tariffs. And, ladies and gentlemen, this man sent out so many tariffs that they said most of the globe got Donald Trump's tariffs. So you can count on one thing: the prices are never going to come down in the US. Never. And he started yapping about tariffs yesterday, and I went to look at the market and it crashed again. He doesn't learn. So the mockery online rose to a new report claim that the US has set its sight on Lithuania, which is one of those Baltic countries, in an attempt to get an egg supply. This is according to the news out of Lithuania. The American embassy in Warsaw was contacted by the Lithuanian Poultry Association and held a meeting with its heads of Lithuanian companies to ask for egg exports. According to the report, Lithuania said, "We have provided the suggested information, but we have not received a reply." So, God, he got people from the embassies doing egg talks in these different countries out of desperation. Wow. Maybe it would have helped if you didn't burn your bridges with everyone. The US is not going to get any sympathy from these other nations because Donald Trump has dealt with them all harshly. You know that saying, don't burn your bridges? Well, he done burnt his down to a crisp. So, several users online saw this as a moment of ironic justice due to the past tensions between the US and Europe, especially after Trump's tariffs, threats, and dismissive attitudes towards European allies. And yes, some of them came to Donald Trump saying, "Why are you doing this? We are an ally to the US." He didn't care. He didn't care. And we saw this in Canada. Canada pretty much said the same thing. The US and Canada have been allies for centuries, and Donald Trump didn't care. He still wrote up an executive order for a 25% tariff. So telling Donald Trump you are an ally is absolutely useless. He doesn't care. So on social media platform Reddit, there was a thread discussing what they were talking about were sources to get eggs. And there were Europeans literally mocking the Americans online. I mean, I can't say I blame them. I mean, what do you expect? Yeah, the world is going to laugh at the US. So Donald Trump is literally going door to door begging for eggs to be exported to the US. So another European asked, did they ask politely while wearing a suit? So you know what that comes from Zelensky being at the White House Oval Office, and they brought up the fact that he did not have a suit on. Well, that's what they're putting back in Donald Trump's face. You know, did you ask politely and did you have a suit on? So, referring to Donald Trump's recent meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky, which turned into, well, never mind. We all saw what happened. So, one user claimed that if they actually had brains instead of using AI slop strategies, they would buy egg laying hens and import them instead of eggs. Yeah, they got a point. This must be a joke to them while US citizens face dire financial situation under Trump. So while another wrote, the greatest country in the world doesn't have affordable eggs. Yeah, I mean, and they are right about the hens. I mean, you just bring in a bunch of hens. You need one rooster. He will, um, you know, he'll get with every single hen. That's one thing about the animal world. You just need one male. The one male will take care of all the hens, and they will lay eggs. They will lay eggs, plain and simple. So that's what they're saying. Instead of asking for eggs, ask for the hens that lay these eggs. So, so far, the U.S. has approached, and I gave you the countries in the beginning: Finland, Denmark, Sweden, the Netherlands, and Lithuania. And Finland and all of the other countries have declined the US. So, in other words, these European nations are pretty much snubbing Donald Trump and letting him know they are not giving a single egg up to the US. Uh, uh, uh. That's what happens when you step on people, and those very same people you step on, you all of a sudden need something from them. Now, what I mean? And every one of these nations in this story, Donald Trump did tariffs on. Just don't hear about it in the media. hmm So they got a plethora of eggs in Europe. They're not having the same issue that the US is having. Now, what I mean? So y'all get used to these high prices because we are warming up. In fact, Saturday here in my state, we're getting our first 80-degree day for this year. We're going up to 83 degrees on Saturday in my state. So as weather warms up, the prices are going to go up too. This is a big travel season. The spring all the way through fall is higher prices, higher gas, higher groceries, higher everything. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, yeah. I saw the prices over there in Denmark, and they're only paying like $3 for a dozen. $3. They're not looking at no darn 8.99 and all that stuff that you see on the shelves here. They're not paying nothing. Some places over there is only like $2. $2 for eggs. And the US is sitting here with these astronomical prices. And a lot of it is greed too, y'all. Don't let them make you believe that a lot of this is greed. A lot of it is. It is not necessary for eggs to be at the prices they are in the US. A lot of it is pure greed. And that's it. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I bet you every dime in my wallet, Mexico probably got more eggs than the US. I bet you they're not having an egg problem. Mhm. So, this is what Donald Trump is resorting to. He shouldn't even be on the phone calling these different countries. Don't you have staff that can do these things? Nah, what I mean, you don't put your staff to use. Yeah, I bet you Canada does too. I bet you Canada is not struck. If y'all remember when it was the baby formula shortage going on in the US, Canada and Mexico was not even having that issue with baby formula. It was the US. But everywhere else, that's why Joe Biden had to go overseas and bring all this formula in. Nobody else in North America was struggling with baby formula, just the US. But everybody here claimed they got high IQs and know how to do everything. We were the only nation struggling with baby formula. Nowhere else was struggling. That says a lot right there. Hmm. No, I'm glad we're in these times because when it's all said and done, we gonna know for certain. We already know, but we gonna know these folks ain't nothing but a bunch of complete idiots. The idiots are running the place. And see, that military blunder is just the beginning. You're gonna see a lot more big blunders come out of the White House. You think this one and that one was huge. It's huge, and they've been trying everything they can to downplay it. There is no downplaying what happened. It was huge. And watch, you're gonna see way more bigger ones coming out of the White House. You're gonna see way more than just that. But when it's all said and done, it's not going to be a living soul on this earth that's going to believe these folks are smart. I promise you, when we get towards the very end, no one on this planet is going to believe these folks are smart. Nobody at all is going to believe it. And I'm glad these things are happening on the world stage for all to see. I am real happy about that. Yeah, well, merit, no. Let me tell you something. That merit is in their imagination. That's where that merit is, in their imagination. This country has never ran on merit. It ran and it still continues to run on racism and racism only. It has never ran anywhere. No state in the country has ran anything on no damn merit. It's all ran on race, and it always will be ran on race. The only ones I do feel bad for are the people in our community. We can do it because we've lived through hard times already, but it's going to be a little more struggle, especially with the prices going up, but it can still be done. It can still be done, and we will do it. I love my HIU. Unfortunately, the heat brings out the craziers too. Be safe out there during spring and summer, my people. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Thank you for your support for my channel. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're trying every trick in the book. That's how you know they got something planned for our people. This is why it's critical when we see them trying to coax us out there, just know they got a plan to sabotage us out there. All right. That's why, don't you find it strange that a whole group of people that don't look like us is desperate for us to get out there and protest? That should be an automatic red flag right there. They're trying to set us up. They're trying to set us up. Don't fall for nothing they do. Nothing. Okay. We have seen their setups before. We know what they look like. They look like each and every one is trying to tell us something. Oh, come on out. We need your support. No, it's way more than that. If you see it too many times, something is wrong. Something is wrong. We're all the same. I don't see race. We need each other. Don't fall for none of that mess. Don't fall for none of it. Okay? They have tried everything. Taking our people off of websites so they can't be seen, taking us out of the National Archives, taking us out of the Arlington Cemetery website, tearing up the Black Lives Matter street, talking about letting Derek Chauvin out of jail. They are throwing the kitchen sink right now. Don't fall for nothing. And then segregation. We can't forget about segregation. Don't fall for none of it. It's a setup. All of it is a setup. Yeah, see, while they're out there marching, look into starting a new business. While they're out there marching, look for places where you can buy, like your farmer's market, where you can get access to food at a cheaper price. Look for farms that sell their eggs directly to the public. You will get a much cheaper price. While they're out there marching, that's what we do. While they're out there marching, get online and start pulling up and looking for Black businesses. Those are the things you can do. Look for Black businesses and classify what they sell, or go out there based on what your needs are and find Black vendors. That's what we do on April 5th, because we're not going to be in the streets protesting. That's what you do with your time. How you doing, True Royal? All right. We can be very productive. How you doing, Wallow J? I'm sorry I didn't see you earlier. Um, we can be very productive in our own right. How you doing, Tareen? You know, that's what we do. We don't have time for their mess at all. Lisa Parker, thank you for your 10-month membership. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you for being the great teacher you are. Thank you for your support for my channel. Thank you. I found a lot of them locally. And I'm real happy that I found some of these businesses. And I was looking at some of their established dates, and a lot of them started during the pandemic. And I found several of them in my immediate area. And I'm definitely going to start visiting and purchasing from these Black businesses around me. You know, I found a clothing store that sold clothes and sneakers. I found a meat market that sells, meats and also vegetables and fruit. I found a black farmer market. Actually, I found a couple of black farmer markets in my state. So I'm still looking for a lot of things. I even want to find are people that do like home repairs. I want to find everything, literally, want to find everything. So if there are Black contractors that do like electricity, or you do any type of drywall, you lay carpet, anything like that, I'm looking for everything. Everything. Hmm. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate our time together, and stay safe out there. You know, they are trying everything they can to get at us. So please be aware of your surroundings and everything that's going on while you're out there in public. Shalom, family.